What up, what up? We back, motherfucker, at it for round 3. It's K Boogie. Y'all know what it is. Since New York, a lot's happened, you know what I'm saying? Like, ever since December, just a ton of opportunities have arisen. I've dropped 2 projects from then to now. Got Lizard People with my boy Sonny, Mama's Basement. They kind of embraced me, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm a part of a whole collective of creatives, and most of them made the album, which I just dropped, Summer Project Until the Sun. Finally got that shit out, you know what I mean? That shit was like, it came out better than I thought. And a lot of people who ended up on the project, I didn't even think was gonna make it. So, you know, it was a blessing that it happened the way that it did and within the time frame that it did. Because the project I put out on Juneteenth, which was the intention, you know what I'm saying, to celebrate Black people, to celebrate another moment in our history, I had all Black features, you know what I'm saying, just to like emphasize that, you know what I mean? So I'm very happy about it, and it's a moment I'm still flourishing in, you know what I mean? Everyone's receiving the music, and it's literally anything an artist can ask for, you know what I mean? Yo, love the Good Problems Collective, yo, you know what I mean? Like those, they always open doors for me. So this started back in like February. So they had an event for Sound Lab, and they had me go up as a producer this time because I do both production and rap, and I take both equally serious, you know what I mean? So they told me, they embraced me as a producer for the event, and I got to show another element to my talents, you know what I'm saying? And that came with meeting a ton of new people, and one of them was, shout out to my boy Sonny, you know what I mean? He immediately like acknowledged just what I was about and what I was representing through my music, and it didn't really take long for us to become pretty close friends, you know what I mean? So we've only known each other for a handful of months, but like we're brothers, you know what I'm saying? And he introduced me to his collective, and they all eventually embraced me. And now we're just working, you know what I mean? We're all working towards the same goals of success. But within those months of meeting him, we ended up doing our first track together, which ended up on the album. You can listen to it, called Echinacea. And we started conversating after that, and I threw him a track called Lizard People. You know what I'm saying? I was on my conspiracy shit. I was just kind of fucking around, finding out with music, experimenting. I was like, he'd be cool on this. Let's see what happens. Send it back to me like a day later, day of, I don't even remember. But it was so fast, I was like, yo, this ain't locked in. Let's do a whole tape. So, you know, 4 beats later, a week later, whole tape is done. So that came out in May, a month after we finished. And then around February to Juneteenth, I was completely focused on the summer album, Until the Sun. And Lizard People really helped build towards that, you know what I'm saying? Because it kind of like introduced the summer phase of my music. And the album has this summer sound to it, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted all that to come together, and it kind of did in an unintentional but organic way. You feel me? And that's literally what makes it to shit music. So, where you can find that shit on all streaming, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, if niggas even use that anymore, you know what I mean? iHeartRadio. But it really helps to go on iTunes and buy the projects officially. You know, that's like one of the few sources of direct to consumer that's left, especially in the digital world. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is streaming now. You get like 1,000th of a cent. So buying the album for like $10 really helps my pockets, you know what I mean? So y'all know where to find it at. Lizard People and Until the Sun were finishing up, and I started meeting more people. So right now I've got 3 to 4 projects I'm kind of juggling right now. You know, one's been in the back burner because it's gonna be a project with all features. So once all the features are in, I'm just laying all my stuff out and putting that out, you know what I'm saying? A lot of those features and tracks have been actually done for a long time before these 2 albums came out. You know what I mean? I actually had this album planned that I'm currently working on before both these projects. And then 3 others kind of naturally came along, just making different styles of music and making different cohesive kind of sounds. So I got a lot of shit coming. Just keep your ears peeled, keep your eyes peeled, and stay alert, yo, cause the wheel's not stopping from here. I was reading about a vague bit of the lizard people conspiracy, and also like the Mark Zuckerberg memes. That's kind of what led me to like name the lizard people. I was really just like joking around. The actual name itself has a nuance, but like the initial naming itself is unserious. But like the whole meaning behind the project, you know, is just like being authentic. You know what I'm saying? Like people are fucking humans walking around like they ain't fucking human. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is lizard people moving pure. Niggas is lizards creeping through the floor. You know what I mean? That's like, that end of the hook epitomizes like the whole subject matter. You know what I mean? And we're just, well, me specifically, I'm just talking shit most of the time because I dropped like a whole trilogy of introspection and huge conceptual works. So I just wanted to kind of like let loose, but still have some kind of like substance, you know what I'm saying? Always. You know, mentally, this is like some of the most enlightened I felt in my life, you know what I'm saying? A lot of this project was about a lot of personal experiences that were kind of daring to even put out, you know what I mean? So like, it feels good to finally like find clarity through those songs, but also find new things about myself through that music, you know what I'm saying? Like, after Nayor and after Sound Lab and all this momentum I got, you know, I thought I was like evolving into like a newer version of myself, and I was, but like there were certain elements of myself that were still holding me back and missing. And that's kind of what led me to making the summer project. It was me kind of addressing those things, confronting them in a way that I know how, and you know, just kind of moving forward from there. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of these things you don't really move on from. You continue to navigate them. A lot of the shit that inspired the new work was, you know what I'm saying, just working with a bunch of new people, doing different concepts. And with those concepts, like by extension, a lot of my ideas start to come out, you feel me? Because like, you start to think more outside of the box and you start to kind of push the barriers and boundaries of your ideas. You're like, all right, but what if I did this with this, or this with that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, how far can this go until it becomes something like that's completely you know what I'm saying? Or something completely different, or just something that hasn't been done in that fashion, you feel me? So working with different people has been like a huge factor to like the direction my music's gone in. And also listening to more jazz and listening to more of the forefathers of music, you know what I'm saying? Just listening to more of the essence of where a lot of this hip hop shit came from. You know, that's kind of like what's been making the gears move different, and it's led me to these like array of different projects I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 under this little series I'm doing called the Stream series. So there's gonna be Streams Cobwebs, and then there's gonna be White Sands. I got a project with my boy, shout out to Mom Placebo on Love. He worked on the Even Hell Got Snow tape, so that's gonna be another New York tape coming. Shout out to my boy Zach Bordeaux. We got some in the works, you know what I mean? And then I got the project with all the features that are gonna be on it. That's gonna be called A Panel of Experts. So I got a lot coming, and the wheels haven't stopped, bro. You know what I'm saying? I work on music every day. I really do this shit. So I'm excited, bro. And the more people I meet, the more inspired I get to come up with these different things. This shit is like a drug, bro. I was just telling my boy the other day, I was like, yo, I just went a day without recording, and it was like, what the fuck for me? You know what I mean? It's like a day, it's like whatever, you know, but it's like, for me, it's like, I literally get up and I think about music every day. Whether it's making it, whether it's listening to it, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's studying it, whether it's in the background, you know what I'm saying? Whether I have a beat block day and I'm just listening to a sample and I'm not feeling it, you know? Like, when you love this shit, you learn to embrace everything that comes with the passion, the rejections, the frustrations, the fucking days where you don't feel like you're that nigga, and the days where you do feel like that nigga, you embrace the fuck out of that, you feel me? So, yeah, man, I love this shit, and it's like, sometimes I don't even know how I just keep doing it, you know? It just is like a part of me, you know what I mean? It's like an extension of myself. Word, so for right now, I just want to keep running around more, you know, networking, talking to more people about the album I just dropped for the summer. You know what I mean? I kind of want to have that ring for the remainder of the summer into the fall season. Around the fall, I'm going to start doing more visual work, and I'm going to be moving into my next phase of work. And that's going to be a work that I'm not going to disclose right this second, because it's going to be big, and it's going to be something beautiful that I've been working on with somebody. But in the next coming weeks, towards the end of August, you could start expecting some visuals towards that. And yeah, I just want to keep interacting with people, you know, get the word out for this project. Just keep the music in people's ears, you know what I'm saying? And just keep creating and find new ways to break the barriers and just think outside the box. I was actually talking to my boy about working with this artist recently, but Mick Jenkins, he's an amazing lyricist from Chicago. I think us working would make a lot of sense, you know what I'm saying? A lot of my writing style is inspired by poetry and literature, you know what I'm saying? Like the diction I use, the word choice, even like the sophistication of the things I'm saying, or sometimes just the way I frame something, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Mick Jenkins is like a master at that, you know what I'm saying? And he definitely helped me direct my lyrics where I wanted them to be. So I'd love for him to be on like anything that I work on, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's a whole project or like just a single. I love to produce it, just hear my own beats. You know, that's kind of the beauty of doing both, is that like when you work with people, you kind of do that for them, you know what I'm saying? You kind of like, you have certain parts covered for them, and it gives you a unique kind of value, you know what I mean? You know, with production, I always was into music as a whole. So I was always into sonics. So like, it wasn't just the vocalist that I was engaged with. It was like, all right, like how are they using this instrument or this element of the beat within the overall production to complement the whole song, you know what I mean? Like I always try to like study how certain sounds were being received in my mind, or like what the artist was thinking, what headspace they're in. So when I started producing like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it was mainly because I was on YouTube beats, I was on the type beats, and I was like, nigga, this shit repetitive and boring, respectfully. Love to every producer out there doing their thing, but like I just couldn't find the beats that I wanted to rap on. And it's like, I knew at the same time what sound I wanted, and it was just a matter of, all right, if I could learn how to do this, this is cleared, you know what I'm saying? I'm fucking shit up. I'm fucking everything up. My boy from high school, one love to my boy Jag, that nigga taught me how to use Logic, and from there, I used the DAW and learned how to produce. And once I realized how simple it was to start off, I was like, all right, now I just need to learn the engineering aspect. And with time, my music just, it sounded crisp on the regular, you know what I'm saying? It isn't like fucking a UMG track, but this was like a deal breaker for me, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of groundbreaking, because this was like, all right, this is a sound that's like professional enough to be up to par with everything my peers are putting out. You know what I'm saying? And bro, the production, like, this is so much influence, you know what I'm saying? Like, fucking, whatchamacallit, Marciano, The Alchemist, you know what I'm saying? Dilla, of course. Dilla's like a no-brainer. My biggest production influences, like the two, are easily Havoc of Mobb Deep and RZA of Wu-Tang. Like, RZA was doing the drumless before all these niggas. Way back on Nutmeg, you could go back to Supreme Clientele and do the Knowledge, nigga. He was like the pioneer of a lot of experimental and risky sounds in hip hop. You know what I mean? So Like, bro, he would use any instrument in a beat, and it'd be some hardcore shit. I was like, yo, if I could do that, I feel like I could do anything. And Havoc, bro, he just had that soul, but that grime, and that's literally my whole thing. You know what I'm saying? That mix of like that grimy, nasty, like New York shit. You know what I'm saying? And then fucking like the soulful, like Negro spiritual shit that like we all grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was in church singing. So having that soul and the grime from the streets is like perfect. You know what I mean? So that definitely shaped my production. And yeah, I just want to keep going with that shit, bro. That's just as fun as the raps, for real.
And that's crazy. You just only produced, you said a year and a half?
Yeah, like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Damn.
Probably hitting 2 years, like around now.
Damn.
But word, bro, I just want to keep going at it. I don't use a keyboard, bro. I don't got no MPC or none of this shit. I'm just doing it with the keyboard, you know? But, you know, my fucking, whatchamacallit, Andre 3000 said this during a speech, but he was saying great things smart in small rooms, yo. So you don't need to make great things with the highest grade equipment. You know what I'm saying? You could do so much with little. You know what I mean? I've done everything I've done in my fucking room, bro. So anybody could do this shit. You know what I mean? It's literally just setting your mind on getting through the motions and finding your lane. You know, because there's no formula to this shit. I just had to jump in and figure it out. A big thing that's been on my mind lately, and I kind of expressed it in the album, is being honest. You know what I'm saying? Not just with others, but with yourself. Something I've learned, I feel like a lot of us, especially black people, with how our culture is and how we're raised and how we're parented, a lot of us are raised to be compliant. But with that, sometimes you're not taught boundaries until you're a certain age, and then you have to relearn, unlearn, or just altogether learn the shit. You feel me? You have to learn how to say no to people. You have to learn how to be honest when it's easy to and when it's difficult. And that's the main thing, is being honest when it's hard, being honest when you know it'll breed conflict. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of people, and you know, I deal with it myself because, you know, we're all human, but I feel like a lot of us hide elements of ourselves and we're not fully honest with ourselves sometimes because we want to get the best outcome out of somebody. We'll sacrifice our own morals, we'll sacrifice our own ideals, we'll compromise ourselves for other people. And the thing is, I've talked to people about this, and I've talked, you know, on my own platforms about this stuff, but people will take what they need from you, man, but them niggas will not respect you, dog. It don't matter who it is. You know, they could be a nice guy to you, they could be nice to you in your face, but if they see that you don't stand for shit, nobody can respect that, you feel me? So they'll get what they need out of you, knowing that you're gonna say yes to everything, but they ain't really gonna respect you, dog. So it's like, you gotta be willing to say no when it's uncomfortable, and you gotta be able to stand up for yourself when nobody else is willing to, because that's really how you develop respect within your relationships. And you could also, on the contrary, get exploited. You know, the good people won't be able to trust your beliefs and what you stand on because you don't have anything to stand on. But exploitative people are just gonna exploit you, dog. It's straightforward as that. So, you know, being honest is, like, that's been on my mind lately, you know, just saying no, and sometimes saying no even when you don't got to. Just say no just cause, nigga. Like, no. You don't need a reason, you know? So, yeah, that's definitely been weighing on my mind. A lot of the ways we were raised was flawed, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, all our parents, you know, especially with black people, because again, I'm talking from the perspective of a black man, a lot of our parents did what they could, you know what I'm saying? But when you're in survival mode, a lot of your emotional needs aren't met, and people overlook that until they're older, you know what I'm saying? Then you get into the real world and you're like fucked up, and then it's harder to unlearn and rewire yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing it with my family now. I'm seeing people suffer from vices that have compounded over decades. You know what I mean? And some of them are unfortunately not even here because of that shit. You know, and I expressed that a lot throughout the project, you know, just shit that I've seen, behaviors I've noticed, and how it's affected me and my family, you know? So that shit's real, bro. Like, being honest with your loved ones and everyone in your relationships is what keeps them strong. Until the Sun, self-produced by yours truly, raps by yours truly, and the features out in motherfucking everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Run that shit up on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora. But you could really help a brother out by buying it on iTunes, direct to consumer. Keep listening to the music, keep talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely gonna keep talking about it, reaching out to any platforms I can, getting the word out there. But until then, yo, peace, stay motherfucking hydrated. It's K Brook, K Boogie, the knowledge god. Shout out to Respect the Motherfucking Vibe, yo. Peace.
And I'm trying to tell you that I have the song. That I have the song at the moment accurately. Hip hop is here, and niggas' faces are scrunched. Goodbye.
Yeah, I think they got a problem, God. Yeah, I think they got a fucking problem, son.
Stand clear, stand clear,
Hold up,
stand.
Yo, hold up real quick.
Yo, straight from Queens, but I'm a king and bitches know this. I pour risk, you know I got the focus. Can satisfy the homeless with my mama's food. Put a foot within the chicken stew. They really me, but I'm never you. How you Pharaoh and they making rules? Created rocks and blues, but never knew clues. Stevie Wonder in the stew. Rapping every written lyric with my eyes closed. The grab a stink. Fix my Egyptian non-fiction villainous cold ring. They got chicken with clips and left to my low blink. They used to whip in the kitchen, had grandma hallway stink. Sun God willing, I'll Smith them, Chris and the walls is blank. With Charles Dickens, I dick it, the Bowman's all stained. You niggas sinister Simmons, mixed with OJ, she does roleplay. She takes it okay, the pussy 4K, 4 gauge, bitch, no I don't play. Got old ways, my soul motions, old souls, the more waves I cut fades. Bumpin' Sade on the highway from my mama's days. Got the playlist on rotating, yet you couldn't phase him. Ain't a game, fuck a play, hater. Throw 'em haymakers, a nigga Joe Fraser, Rose Blazer. Run away, we gon' smoke you later, gold razor. I'm with the Chiefs and the Northern Gators, gold brainer. I cop the stock, but not a dual chaser. The poor shaped them, smacked them so hard the nigga turned Haitian, graduated. Stupid ass still making blanket statements. A black strapped up, Nicholas Craven.
What up, what up? Stop playing with me, nigga. You know what it is.
But I'm trying to tell you that I have the song. That I have the beat that describes that moment accurately. Hip hop is here, and niggas' faces are scrunched up. Goodbye.